Right, 24 February 2024, and today I'm going to be having a special feature, and this is something that I do when there's some very interesting or breaking news. And today I'm going to be dealing with the very important story of the SADC summit, and this is going to be the most important event in the next 5 months in Zimbabwe. This is going to be held in August, and SADC has issued a statement this week. In fact, yesterday or late yesterday, they issued a statement on exactly what is happening with the SADC summit in Zimbabwe. And I want to clarify what is happening in about 10 points. So I'm going to come back within the next few hours. So I want to clarify so that you understand what is going on. SADC did not send the mission of Judith Katera to Zimbabwe. It is the Zimbabwean that requested SADC to send people. And Judith Katera, when she landed at the airport, you can see that she was speaking, as I said, and talking about the position of Zimbabwe when she talked about the chairmanship, because the chairmanship is going to be the most important discussion to be held when you look at what is going to happen at the summit. ED is not going to be the chairperson of SADC, and ED is not even in line to be the next chairperson of SADC. The person who's going to be the chairperson of SADC, according to the SADC rules, is Seychelles. The president of Seychelles is the one who's going to be the next SADC chairperson if we go according to rotation. So the rotation of the SADC chairpersons goes by the alphabetic order of the country, so not because of the host. And I've told many people that Mnangagwa is not eligible to be the chairperson of SADC. And if you go to geingob.com right now, what I've done for you is I've compiled the past 2 years of the past 5 years of SADC. So you just go to geingob.com and you search for SADC, and you will see. In fact, I'm going to link it here so that you get the story after I finish this video. The president or the chairperson of SADC is not elected according to who is the host. In fact, this has not happened in the past 5 summits. The people who have been elected are not the hosts. So ED is trying to jump the gun by pretending that he doesn't know that he's not eligible. ED was eligible in 2019 when Mugabe was removed forcefully, and then SADC bypassed ED. So I've got the whole table on geingob.com, and what it shows is that in 2019 Mnangagwa was supposed to be the chairperson, but because he committed that coup, SADC then decided that he's not eligible to be the chairperson of SADC. And then in 2021, the chairperson of SADC, so remember there was also the issue of COVID during that year, and that assisted because it made sure that the SADC leaders were not embarrassed to have to make that decision publicly. But that time, the SADC president stayed with the president of Mozambique, Filipe Nyusi. And then the next time that happened again was in the case of DRC. So the DRC had issues with the election, and they could not take, also Tshisekedi could not take the SADC presidency or chairmanship. And it stayed with, let me see who stayed with the presidency here, the chairpersonship of SADC. In 2023, it stayed with João Lourenço of Lilongwe. So it stayed with him. It never went to Tshisekedi because there was issues with the election. And in the case of Zimbabwe, it stayed with Filipe Nyusi. So what they do is that if there's a problem with the election, they will not allow the person that is having the dispute to take over the chairmanship of SADC. So Mnangagwa has already been bypassed in 2019 because of the coup, and he is not next in line. The person who's next in line is the president of Seychelles. So the chairmanship of SADC is going to go to Seychelles. It's not going to go to Zimbabwe. And that statement is clear. There is nothing here in the statement, which is also on Facebook, that says that ED is going to be the next chairperson of SADC. Because if Mnangagwa becomes the chairperson of SADC, then he's going to chair the meeting that discusses the report of SIOM, which says the election in Zimbabwe was rigged. And that is not possible. It's not possible for Mnangagwa to be the chairperson of the same report that is discussing rigging in Zimbabwe, that is recommending actions to be taken in Zimbabwe. So, in short, ED is not next in line. The people who are next in line, the president that is next in line is the president of Seychelles to be the chairperson of SADC. And ED will still have to answer to the issue of the election rigging. If you look at the last paragraph of the statement, so I want to take you to the last paragraph of the statement. It says the 44th SADC summit will be preceded by the SADC Industrialization Week, meetings of the SADC senior officials and councils of ministers who prepare the agenda for the heads of state and government, and the SADC public lecture. The SADC council consists of ministers from each member state, usually from the ministers of foreign affairs, economic planning, or finance. So what ED is trying to do is to remove the SIOM report from the agenda. That is why you see his people going all over the place. And then to seal the deal, he wants to be made the chairperson of SADC. So if I was Chamisa, so this is what I was going to do, and I've said this in the morning, I will deal with the two actions that Chamisa is trying to do, which is to remove Zimbabwe from the agenda of SADC. He doesn't want that SIOM report to be presented. And what I would do in that case, as I said, from the very first day of the SADC Industrialization Week, there must be demonstrations all across Zimbabwe, which is mass action. And then on the final days where the presidents are actually in the meeting, there should be demonstrations outside the venue. And I've heard guys saying, Mnangagwa will kill people. This is your best time to demonstrate. ED will not be able to do anything. Everyone in the whole world will be watching Zimbabwe at that particular time. So if you're in the opposition right now, or you're an activist, or you're someone who's planning what to do with the rigging of the election in Zimbabwe, the best time to have a demonstration is that week in August when the industrialization starts, and then outside the venue on the very day of the president's or lecture, when the presidents are actually there in the venue. That is the day when you should have that massive demonstration. You call all the people in Harare to go over to that venue, and you make sure that there is massive demonstration. You're going to achieve all your objectives on that day, which is ED must be brought and it must be made to account for all the issues that are in the report. The presidents must then discuss the issues in the same report, because ED is currently refusing to discuss the report. He has ignored the Council of Elders of SADC, and he's playing hardball with all the people that are in SADC. So let's recap this, because I think I'm covering a lot of things here, and also I'm putting my opinions into this thing. Let's start and let's recap this very nicely. SADC has issued a statement on the 44th summit, SADC summit to be held in Zimbabwe in August. And SADC has not said that Mnangagwa is going to be the chairperson of after this summit. Being a host does not mean that you're going to be the SADC chairperson. And I've put this on gambako.com for you. The hosts are not the chairperson. So it doesn't mean if someone hosts, then they're the chairperson. And the country that is next in line to be SADC chairperson is not Zimbabwe, but is Seychelles. Mnangagwa was bypassed in 2019 after the coup, so his chance was actually passed, and now it's Seychelles' chance to be the SADC chairperson. And ED is trying to remove himself from the agenda. He's also trying to make sure that he becomes chairperson so that he can neutralize SADC and the SIOM report. Now, I want to go to the next point, which is to say, on the past two occasions, rotation has been disregarded. And this is whenever there's an election issue. So that is in Zimbabwe, where Mugabe was removed by force, and in the DRC, where there was a dispute over the election. So whenever there's a dispute over the election, the current person who is supposed to be next in rotation, if they're involved, they are not given the chance to become the chairperson of SADC. And then, as I said, Zimbabweans need to play their part during the SADC summit. This is your best time to get rid of ED and his government through mass action, because he's not going to do anything. Everybody in the world will be watching the SADC summit. So ED will be at his weakest on the days of the summit, or in fact on the month of the summit. As soon as those foreign observers and foreign ministers and presidents arrive, ED will be at his weakest, and that is the time when you will be able to organize a demonstration without him being able to call the army, without him being able to do anything. Because if he does that, it means ED is going to call the army on the presidents of other countries, and that won't work. It won't be allowed. So this is what I wanted to say here. Totally exposed ED and his plans, which is to make sure that Zimbabwe is not on the agenda of SADC, and that Zimbabwe appoints him as chairperson, so that the whole SADC report can be thrown out. He will be able to deal with it thereafter. So let me quickly go through the comments, because I'm going to be back here again within the next few hours to give you the news in the morning. Comment Douglas says, Watanga Kunyeba, Shakari. I think this one is self-explanatory. Marvin is saying, Gamba Kwe, Uriwe Zanu Iwe. So you are saying I must call for mass action against Zanu PF. That is what you are saying, Marvin. Okay. Let's go to Nisbet. Fresh elections, Gamba Kwe, Takamira say. So let's talk about fresh elections. Fresh elections are not going to happen. Let me explain why. Reforms are not yet there. So I heard guys talking about fresh elections. That won't happen. The first thing that needs to happen is for ED to acknowledge the report from SADC, from the SIOM, which says the election in Zimbabwe was not free and fair, and it did not meet over 17 of 20 criteria. So that election was not accepted by SADC. It was not accepted by anyone. So the SADC summit, the first job that they have is to make sure that ED accepts that report, and then they put in place a recommendation and a roadmap. That is allowed in terms of SIOM. SADC can actually force ED to go through with a proper roadmap. He won't be able to just sit there and say, I won't talk to you. And that is clear. Koma Gomba Chitopota, I'm going to block you. You will never ever be able to see me again. I've banned you. I'm sure you are a ghost. Then let's go to someone else. I want to look at a big comment here. Mkoma Innocent says, Gamba SADC chairmanship rotate I voted way. Right. So I just explained to say it does not rotate by country. It rotates alphabetically. So people don't understand how SADC chairmanship rotates. It rotates alphabetically. And Zimbabwe had their chance in 2019 when ED took over from Mugabe, and he was bypassed. So he's not next in line. The country which is next in line is Seychelles. So Mkoma Innocent, you are correct that it rotates, but it does not rotate the way people have been saying. If you are the host, you are not the next in line. So ED has been lying to people there. The guys in ED's government have been lying. It's not rotating on who is host. It's rotating alphabetically. But they've already passed the Zimbabwe when ED took over from Mugabe, and the SADC said this was not, we're not sure what has happened here. Then they left it with President Filipe Nyusi. That's why President Filipe Nyusi was chairman for 2 years. And then in the case of DRC, it happened the same way. Tshisekedi could not take over, and the president of Angola had to stay in for another year, another extra year. So, and then Lazarus Chakwera came in 2023. So he was in there in 2023 before January 18, 2023. That's when he came in. And then the president of Zhao came in on August 17 to 18, 2023. So you see what happens. If there's an election dispute, you cannot be the next SADC chairman. And Mnangagwa has got an election dispute. So he's not going to be the next election SADC chairperson. It's not possible because there is a dispute of an election. And as I said, Chamisa needs to enforce this. This is not going to happen easily. There needs to be a very big mass action on the week that the SADC people start to arrive in Zimbabwe. So in the next 5 months, there must be something very, very big. Unless who's calling me here, if it's important. No, it's not. We're going to cancel this very much. Let's look at another comment before I go. Mkoma Rodney said, Gabago News is now reliable. Thank you, Mkoma Rodney. And I think Mkoma Andrew saying this is confusing. It's not confusing. Mnangagwa has been trying to confuse everybody. He's been trying to spin that he's going to be the next SADC chairperson so that people feel like there is no hope, there's no reason to continue with fighting the election that was rigged. But it's actually not true. The truth is that the next SADC chairperson is going to be Seychelles, or it will stay with Angola if they, for some reason Seychelles cannot take that chairmanship. And ED is going to be discussed on the agenda, but Chamisa and his people, they have to prepare for the most biggest mass action or demonstration in August, so that the presidents that are going to be in there and the people that are going to be in the venue, they understand that there's a stolen election and the Zimbabweans are not happy about it. So I want to thank you for watching. I'm going to be back in the morning with the morning update on Sunday, and I hope that this has clarified everything. You can go and look at kambako.com, and I've stated there the 2 cases where SADC rotation was not upheld. But anyway, Zimbabwe is not next in line. Zimbabwe's chance passed in 2019, and Mnangagwa is not going to be the next SADC chairperson. Thank you very much for watching. You can also go to the SADC website to look at the statement by SADC. There is nowhere in that statement where they say that Mnangagwa is going to be the chairperson of the SADC. Thank you very much, and a good night.